Coming up today on Good Morning BU, humanitarian halt. The Israeli government agrees to allow aid into Gaza after the Gaza death toll reached 10,000 people.
The results are in. Voters went to the polls this week, showing that Americans nationwide support abortion and legal marijuana.
Hall of Name, Faneuil Hall will get a new name. Our politics correspondents hit the street to get Bostonians' opinions on the renaming.
And BU's soccer team is a goalkeeper. Stick around to hear our sports correspondents join the team on their journey to the playoffs.
Live from Studio West in the College of Communication, Good Morning BU starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Good Morning BU. I'm Sydney Toff.
And I'm Alex Dowd. Here are today's top stories. The Israeli government is agreeing to hold a daily 4-hour pause in fighting to allow more aid into Gaza and the release of more hostages. The Israeli government agreed to what they're calling a humanitarian pause after weeks of demonstrations across the world and requests from U.S. officials. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said to reporters yesterday that more humanitarian assistance still needs to be done.
Many Palestinians have been killed. Far too many have suffered these past weeks. And we want to do everything possible to prevent harm to them and to maximize the assistance that gets to them.
The UN reports that half of the housing in Gaza is destroyed and tens of thousands of civilians have been displaced. The UN Secretary General said that before October 7th, about 500 aid trucks crossed into Gaza each day. But in the past 2 weeks, that number has dropped down to just 12 per day. Yesterday, militant group Islamic Jihad released 2 videos of hostages, Igil Yaakov, a young teenage boy, and Hannah Katsir, a woman in her 70s. Islamic Jihad promised to release the 2 hostages once, quote, appropriate measures are taken by the Israeli government. But they didn't say what those measures were. Former New Jersey governor and candidate for the Republican presidential nominee, Chris Christie, will be visiting Israel this weekend to meet with the families of those hostages. He says he was invited by the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Continuing with the Israel-Hamas war controversies, on Tuesday evening, the House voted to censure Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American in Congress, over her rhetoric about the Israel-Hamas war.
My perspective is needed here now more than ever. I will not be silenced, and I will not let you distort my words. Folks forget I'm from the city of Detroit, the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, where I learned to speak truth to power even if my voice shakes. Trying to bully or censor me won't work, because this movement for a ceasefire is much bigger than one person.
The tally came to 34 to 188 after a portion of Democrats joined Republicans to act against Tlaib. Many in favor of Tlaib's punishment see her slogan, "From the river to the sea," as a calling for the eradication of Israel. Tlaib, however, defended her statements by asserting that, quote, the idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent. Historically, lawmakers who have been censured are asked to be publicly admonished. If this were to happen, Tlaib would be the second Muslim American woman in Congress to be formally admonished this year for her criticism of the Israeli government.
The third GOP debate kicked off Wednesday evening in Miami, Florida. Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Tim Scott, and Ron DeSantis were the 5 candidates who qualified for the NBC-hosted debate. An exchange between Haley and Ramaswamy about TikTok was one of the tensest moments on the stage Wednesday evening. This came after moderators asked the candidates about their opinions on Republicans in Congress calling to ban TikTok over allegations that the app is promoting pro-Palestinian content. It wasn't the first time that the two have argued on the debate stage. Ramaswamy took this as a chance to take a shot at Haley, arguing that she's been critical of his TikTok use, but hasn't acknowledged her daughter's use. Haley responded back on the personal attack.
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which was about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Another focal point of the debate was anti-Semitism on college campuses. All 5 candidates shared their support for Israel in the war against Hamas, but they weren't united on how to grapple with the response here in the United States. When asked how the candidates would respond to the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses, all but one vowed to crack down on students protesting.
Number 3, Any campus that allows for anti-Semitism and hate, to allow students to encourage terrorism, mass murder, and genocide, you should lose your federal funding today, period. To all the students on visas who are encouraging Jewish genocide, I would deport you from those campuses. We have to stand strong with our Jewish Americans.
Former President Donald Trump, the front-runner for the GOP nomination, wasn't at this debate. His senior advisor said that Trump will not attend the fourth debate in December.
Despite missing Wednesday night's debate, Trump managed to keep busy. The former president hosted a rally in Hialeah, Florida, just a half hour away from where the GOP debate took place. Trump boasted about South Florida's Cuban community that speaking to the tens of thousands of people at the rally was much harder than participating in the debate. The venue, which held 5,200 people, saw Trump claim that the world would be safer again under his administration.
Number one is to make America safe again. For 4 straight years under the Trump administration, I kept America safe, I kept Israel safe, I kept Ukraine safe, and I kept the world safe. Israel, Ukraine would have never happened under the Trump administration. There was no chance it would have happened.
The historic Hollywood strike has come to an end after the Actors Union reached an agreement with major film and television studios on Wednesday. The strike began this past July with actors and writers demanding better pay and working conditions and contracts with provisions on artificial intelligence. The industry has been at a standstill the past 4 months, with all production on pause and existential questions about the future of Hollywood in the air. But after a total of 118 days, actors and writers will be headed back to work soon. The Screen Actors Guild, or SAG-AFTRA, announced a deal with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents the major Hollywood studios. The agreement includes the largest increase in minimum wages in the past 40 years, as well as AI protections, a streaming participation bonus, and more benefits. Union President Fran Drescher described the deal as a historic and said that the relationship between SAG actors and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers should be business as usual and zero problem moving forward. While there are still expected to be delays in release dates at the start of next year, Hollywood is back and better than ever. And the Biden's trial continues. James and Hunter Biden, brother and son of current President Joe Biden, have been subpoenaed in a case investigating their foreign business affairs. The House Oversight Committee has also requested interviews with some of Hunter's inner circle, including siblings, business partners, and romantic partners. The depositions are set for December 6th and 13th, with the aim of investigating Joe Biden's involvement and benefit in familial business affairs.
Election day was Tuesday, and the votes are in. Ohio voters voted to amend the Constitution, protecting the right to abortion. Before Tuesday, Ohio had strict laws that made abortions illegal throughout the state. In Kentucky, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear won re-election, although it is a growing red state. Kentucky's neighboring state, Virginia over here, voted to keep Democratic control in the state Senate and even flipped the House of Delegates to be democratically controlled as well. Then finally, down in the southern Mississippi, Republican Tate Reeves won governor, but it wasn't that easy win that he was expecting. Reeves beat Democratic nominee Brandon Presley by just over 4%. For more local election updates here in Massachusetts, stay with us for after the break. And later, get your Mariah Carey playlist spruced up for this Christmas tree story. We'll be right back.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. Voters in Boston showed up to the polls on Tuesday, and the City Council will be gaining 4 new members next year. Mayor Michelle Wu will gain 3 allies in the chamber. All of the candidates that Mayor Wu endorsed won in their races on Tuesday. She endorsed Henry Santana in the at-large City Council races. He was the only non-incumbent to win this year, while incumbents Ruth C. Louisian, Aaron Murphy, and Julia Mejia all kept their seats. Voters from Boston Districts 3, 5, and 6 all elected new councilors. John Fitzgerald, who was endorsed by former Mayor Marty Walsh, won in District 3. He was endorsed by the former District 3 representative, outspoken conservative Frank Baker. In Districts 5 and 6, office holders Ricardo Arroyo and Kendra Lara left their spots empty when they lost their elections back in the primaries in September. Arroyo was replaced by Mayor Wu's Director of Neighborhood Services, Enrique Pepin. Pepin beat out former police officer and Marty Walsh endorsee Jose Ruiz. And Ben Weber from District 6, labor attorney and Jamaica Plain resident, won in District 6 with the help of an endorsement from Mayor Wu. He got over 60% of the vote, which was counted by the city of Boston.
And Vice President Kamala Harris made her rounds in Boston on Thursday, visiting a union in Dorchester and attending a Democratic fundraiser downtown, where she was met by pro-Palestinian protesters. Harris first appeared at the Pie Fitters Local 537 in Dorchester to discuss the importance of organized labor and apprenticeship programs across the nation. Protesters gathered outside the Ritz-Carlton upon Harris's arrival to demand a push for a ceasefire in Gaza. A group of pro-Israeli protesters also stood outside the hotel, along with a vast police presence. The Boston police said 2 individuals were arrested at the protest for resisting arrest and trespassing. And Massachusetts has officially reached its 7,500 family capacity, turning away eligible families today and instead adding them to a wait list. This is the first time in the right to shelter law's 4-decade lifespan that a cap has been initiated. As the weather continues to drop, officials are scrambling to provide families with options off the street. Healy announced a $5 million grant program on Tuesday that assists in finding shelters for homeless families and pregnant individuals. Additionally, she stated that federal officials are pressed to speed up the migrant authorization process to find work and exit the shelter to free up space. Despite lawmakers providing a record $325 million budget for the shelter program, the Healy administration said the funds will be depleted soon.
And arguably Boston's famous landmark, Faneuil Hall, is being renamed. Our politics correspondent, Akua Deval, visited this landmark to get reactions about the recent approval for the name change.
The Boston City Council voted to approve the resolution to rename Faneuil Hall in a 10-3 vote last month. The recent push for the name change is due to the famous destination being named after a famous 1700s wealthy merchant who was also a slave trader named Peter Faneuil. With other controversial statues and memorials being taken down nationwide in the past years, the center built a new exhibition on slavery in June to be more inclusive and mitigate the tension. Yet supporters of the name change still say it's not enough.
When you think about the quick things like tourism, stuff like that, it might be weird to change it because it's become such a staple in Boston. But when you look at the history, it's definitely worth the conversation. Yeah.
I think whatever means the most to the people of Boston and ideally shows its roots without, the bad parts of history, we should try to come to a more meaningful name that surrounds unity amongst everybody.
On the other hand, Faneuil Hall cashier Tina Davis says it's wrong to erase history.
The problem with changing the name is that if the name is changed, some people might forget the history, and I was taught that if you forget history, sometimes you might be doomed to repeat that history.
Last week's vote does not guarantee that Faneuil Hall will be renamed, as the final decision comes down to Boston's Public Facilities Commission. Still, this is a major victory for supporters and a step in the right direction for Boston to fix its controversial past. For GMBU, I'm Akuma DeVal.
Buildings aren't the only thing getting renamed in Boston. Even in the bird world, there is a power in the name. After years of controversy, the American Ornithological Society is renaming birds named after famous naturalists to avoid attributing to people with racist pasts. 70 to 80 species of birds are being renamed in the US and in Canada. New names aim to not only create an inclusive space and eliminate bias for future nature lovers, but will also attempt to draw love to these winged beauties.
Thanksgiving hasn't even started, but it seems as if the country of Nova Scotia is already tremendously excited as they get ready to send its annual Christmas present to Boston. The tree will stand in Boston Commons. This odd international gift stems from a tradition started after the 1917 Halifax explosion, in which Boston promptly sent medical supplies and personnel to the area soon after the blast. This year will mark the 106th anniversary of the Halifax explosion. This tradition holds on strong as the tree will depart to Boston on November 19th, just in time for the tree lighting ceremony on November 30th. And stick around for on-campus news about Legacy's influence, or lack thereof, for incoming freshmen.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing? How's the play date and sleepover?
Dad, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, I'm on my way. Hey, guys, what are you doing?
We're going swimming. We're going biking. Yeah!
I'll see you in a little bit, guys. I love you.
Hi, babe. How was school today?
Hi, Dad. It was great.
Okay, honey. I'll be home soon. Remember, you're never too far away from your kids to be a dad. Reach out and take a second to check in, because sometimes the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Welcome back. Even here in Boston, we feel the pressure from the war between Israel and Gaza. Amidst these tensions, many Boston University students are taking action. Just yesterday, 8 groups on campus banded together to organize a silent sit-in at Psy Performance Center to honor the thousands of Gazan lives lost. They sat there from 1:45 until dark, reciting names and stories of those who have passed during the crisis.
And her cat. Atif Dabour, age 15. He was a member of Gaza's El Hilal Sports Club. Ever since he was a child, he wanted to become a professional global football player. His ambition was crushed when an Israeli rocket took his life and that of his father, Mohammed Dabour, a pathology expert, and other members of his family.
Their goals were clear: to demand a ceasefire and cut U.S. economic and military aid to Israel.
Last Tuesday evening, BU staff members reported an individual graffitiing "Free Palestine" on the windows of the Hillel House on Bay State Road. Though the person behind this graffiti hasn't been identified, the BU Police Department is working with the Suffolk County Office to investigate this act. It's been labeled a hate crime due to the damage on a house of worship.
Boston University announced Tuesday that the inquiry into Ibram X. Kennedy's Anti-Racist Research Center found no issues with the management of its finances. BU launched the inquiry in September after the center laid off roughly half its staff. The university says that the center has raised over $50 million, with $30 million put into an endowment that would create projects and research initiatives. BU will now look into the center's management of grants from outside funders and the center's culture and management. But for now, Kennedy says he is eager to get back to work.
It's been over 2 weeks since BU students received an email about how legacy status will affect admissions. Campus correspondent Sophia Falbo spoke to the people excited for how this will increase BU's applications.
Student body president Dhruv Kapadia announced on October 26th that Boston University will no longer consider legacy in its admission process. Kapadia said he thinks this decision will diversify BU's applicant pool.
I can speak as a first-gen college student that when you get asked on your common application if you have an alumni relation from when you're applying to school, you immediately feel discouraged and you feel like you're inherently at a disadvantage compared to students that might have alumni relation. So I think by incorporating a disclaimer that explicitly states that this is something that BU does not consider will, I think, effectively diversify the applicant pool and encourage more first-gen students to apply to BU.
Kapadia met with Vice President Christine McGuire and Senate Chair Hannah Dworkin to discuss the effect of legacy status after the Supreme Court's decision that banned race-based admission decisions. Executive Director of the Newberry Center, Maria Erb, said prior to this decision, first-gen students were at a drawback compared to legacy students who benefit from connections.
It just eliminates another barrier that helps level the playing field for first-gen college students as they're going into universities and colleges.
BU's Dean of Admissions, Kelly Walter, said there were about 80,500 applications to the class of 2027. Reporting for BU TV, I'm Sophia Falbo.
Thanks, Sophia. Next, the BU men's soccer team are on their way to victory as they are taking on Lafayette College in their final game tomorrow.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. Get ready for a team of athletes that are all keepers. BU men's soccer is ahead in their final game tomorrow versus Lafayette College as they relentlessly pursue their goal to capture their first title in nearly a decade.
En route to the championship match, BU men's soccer rolled past Colgate 2-0 in their semifinal match on Tuesday night. I caught up with the team before their big win to hear more.
The guys have been consistent. They've been really mature and professional in terms of how we've looked at every day of training to come out with a purpose and then, come game day for the players to go out and perform and execute.
Coach Nyland was recently honored as the Patriot League Coach of the Year, but says this win is bigger than him.
That's a staff, that's a program, that's a team award. As the leader, they don't have to, but it comes to me. But the players always make the coaches look good, and I believe that. And so everything that we've had from an individual standpoint from the league, myself and all players, that's attributed to all 27 guys and everybody who's within our program.
Along with Nyland's award, 3 players were recognized by the Patriot League for their performances this season. I caught up with Eton Rosen, who was named Offensive Player of the Year.
You know, Coach always says it's bigger than us, and it's bigger than each individual player. It's the badge on your chest, and I really believe that. So to be part of a really incredible season just shows what amazing work all the guys do every day, day in, day out, coaching staff, everyone part of the whole athletics community. So it means the world, and hopefully this is just the beginning, you know. I have a really set routine. I'm really big on routine, so doing the same thing every single day and keeping the same habits. I know that my teammates will have my back, which makes it a lot easier. So continuing the same routine and habits, and you know, when it comes to the postseason, we always say like the job's not finished. So we're completely level-headed in maintaining that, and it's not the time to lose your habits. So we're gonna maintain discipline and continue thriving. I think we got a really good group, so that's not gonna be too hard.
George Abenaw, a BU men's soccer alum, couldn't be happier for the team, urging them to keep pushing forward and to go for it all.
It's been fantastic to watch, especially for me. I've been away in California the past 2 years and just moved back to Boston, so being able to see the season firsthand and come to the games and interact with the guys has been incredible. And you know, whenever you're an alum for a team, you just want the team to do well and leave the program, you know, better than you left it. So just seeing it firsthand has been so amazing to watch, and I just want them to keep going and keep being even better. I would say remain confident and keep the values that have got you here. They've won 10 plus games this season, won a regular season title. Kevin's come and done a fantastic job with the program, so they've earned everything they've got so far. They just need to keep pushing forward.
The team faces off against Lafayette for the title tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Nickerson Field. We hope to see you there. Alex, Sydney, back to you.
1, 2, 1, 2.
From the dangers of rising sea levels to whale tales, our interview correspondent Danny Galina sits down with award-winning reporter, documentary, filmmaker, and BU Comm professor David Abel to discuss how his latest projects assisting in digesting abstract environmental topics.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every.
Welcome back. Driven by deep passion for journalism and the environment, BU professor David Abel has been making documentaries for nearly a decade.
His latest projects, the Indonesian District and In the Whale, are clear expressions of his dedication to bringing attention to important environmental issues. Here to talk more about them is our interview correspondent, Danny Galina.
I think it's really important for us as journalists to cast light on stories that are really important to tell, stories that might not be readily understandable or something that you can see, especially with a story like climate change, which is unfolding over decades. And these are stories of, I think, of paramount importance. My film, Inundation District, is all about how rising sea levels are likely to affect our city right here. And it's all about how we as a community kind of let this happen. And in a city that probably has more climate scientists per capita than just about any other city on the planet, in the bullseye of rising seas.
Let's transition now to In the Whale. Can you give us some details about that?
Sure. So this story just sort of fell in my lap when this lobster diver, was essentially engulfed in the mouth of a whale. I was assigned to go look at it and essentially prove that it was fake, that this was, a made-up story. And so I spent a lot of time interviewing everyone in that community who could tell me what happened, which included the people who pulled the diver out of the water, including his mom, including the diver himself. His name is Michael Packard, his sisters, anyone else I could actually, who would sit down with me and tell me their story and tell me whether or not they thought this could happen. And with all this information, I had to go back to my editors at the Boston Globe and tell them the unfortunate news, which was that I really thought that this was true.
That's going to do it for us this week at Good Morning BU.
But before we go, we'd like to send a special good luck to our favorite member of BU's soccer team, our sports correspondent, Tyler Johnson. Good luck to Tyler and the Terriers.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sydney Toff.
And I'm Alex Dowd. Stay safe, happy Veterans Day, and have a great weekend.